My name is Michael Mastro, and this is Transformational Vedic Astrology. And tonight we're going to look at the chart for Srinvasa Ramanujan, who's a very famous mathematician born December 22nd, 1887, in India. If you look to the eastern horizon when he was born, you would see the constellation associated with Gemini. Um, uh, and what we're going to do tonight is look at how the planets are operating in his chart, when they were operating, certain key points in his life, and what we could do to remedy the chart. So, let's first look at. We're going to look at when we see that the Gemini was rising. It was rising at 15 degrees. So 15 degrees becomes the most effective point of every house. That means any planet within 5 degrees, like Rahu, like Mars, um, K2, they all have a lot of impact in this chart. And we're going to look and see what the functional nature of each planet is. So any planet that their sign rules the 6th, 8th, or the 12th house would be functional malefics. And in the case of a Gemini, there are no functional malefics other than Rahu and Ketu, which are functionally malefic nodes of the moon for every sign. So let's first just look at Sun. Sun is rising at 8 degrees. It's fairly weak, and it rules. You see that Leo is in the 3rd house. It's ruled by Sun. Sun. This house has to do with business and communication, and Sun is placed in the house of partnerships. So it says that he would gain success through partnerships, and in fact, he was a brilliant man, but he would never have been had his theories published without a partnership with a mentor who saw his amazing abilities. Moon is at 10 degrees, and it's close to the most effective point, and it is ruling the house of wealth and recognition. And so it's placed in that career house. So it says that his career involved teaching other people um, through his intuitive abilities on numbers and gaining wealth through that teaching. Let's see here. Mars is at 15 degrees, and it rules Aries, which is placed in the 11th house. So 11th house has to do with income. So it says that he can have income through his mental abilities, his mathematical abilities. And it gave him courage to put out these theories that had never been proven before on numbers, partitions, and fractions. Mercury is at 23 degrees. It is ruling the house of happiness and family, and it is placed in the house of health and healing and debts and delays. So his happiness was delayed, um, but he did gain happiness through being able to um, be creative and express his analytical abilities. Now, Mercury being in this house gave some, Mercury can give you great intellect, but also can make you self-critical. So there was some inner turmoil. In fact, he did try to commit suicide. Jupiter's at 3 degrees. It's weak. It's placed in the again this house of the enemy, which makes it weak. It's ruling the house of partnerships. So his marriage struggled. He was not. His marriage was delayed. He did had no children. Some Jupiter's children, and but it gave him great teaching ability. This ability to teach about math. Now, this is also the house of living abroad. So he had great discomfort living abroad. He was an Indian living in a British society in Cambridge or Oxford, I'm not sure which, and he was very much discriminated against. And he was a Hindu, so he was a vegetarian, and there was no, all the food that he was served had meat. So he was just quite uncomfortable, and the climate was not comfortable for him, and so he got quite ill. So it was not comfortable for him living abroad. Uh, Venus is at 22 degrees. Venus represents wife, and the Libra is in this fifth house of creativity. So gave him really strong creativity, math. He was a mathematical genius. He was brilliant in educating others and publishing his works. um, you know, Venus's relationship. So his relationship really was through numbers and math. Saturn's at 13 degrees, gave him great discipline. It is ruling the house of good fortune and travel, and also religion. He was a very religious person. So it says that, and it's placed in this house of wealth. So it says that through hard work and discipline, he would gain wealth. So Rahu and Ketu are at 18 degrees. Rahu's placed in the house of wealth and recognition. Ketu's placed in the house of research into solving mathematical problems in his situation. So, but I think it gave him this strong desire to be recognized and have this insights into solving problems. But also, I think it disturbed his happiness and made him depressed. Let's look at the timing of events. So in 1913, he got the opportunity to really move to England, and that was during a Mercury period. Mercury rules house and property and residence, so he moved his residence during that time. 1918, he attempted suicide, and during that time, Rahu and Ketu were afflicting Saturn, which had to do with longevity. 1919, he returned to India again during a Saturn period. And Saturn here, let's see, he died of tuberculosis in April 26th of 1920. And if we look at that, it was during a K2 Mercury period. And if we look at the transit chart, we will see that now this is a circular transit chart, and you can see the outer circle is where the planets were when he died, and the inner circles where the planets were when he was born. So you can see on this date of April 20, 1920, K2 is afflicting 5 houses away. It's afflicting Saturn. Saturn is longevity. And Rahu's afflicting Venus. So I think this is the main thing. That heavy, end of life separation from longevity. So this is the chart for Srinvasa Ramanujan. What could we do to improve his chart, the quality of his life. Well, we could strengthen all the benefic planets by wearing a kavash. It's a locket containing the Devata yantra for each of his benefic planets, not Rahu and Ketu, but the rest. That would help. Wearing white would help. Wearing red would help. Wearing blue would help. Wearing yellow and green and white and orange. All of these colors could have helped him. And for Rahu and Ketu, listening to Shiva chants and doing charities for those who cannot help themselves. For Ketu, charities for spiritual organizations and helping spiritual organizations and listening to Ganesh chants. So those are some of the things that could be done to remedy this chart. If you're interested in a Vedic astrology reading, you can go to Vastu Creations with an S.com under services. If you're interested in learning about transformation of Vedic astrology and becoming a certified astrologer, you can go to American Institute of Vastu.com. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.